That was awesome. What a great day to be in Foggy Bottom. And isn't it great to be back inside the Charles E. Smith Center to welcome in the new era of GW women's basketball. And on the heels of our very first annual GW Giving Day, led by our advisory council chair, Michelle Rubin, we had over 440 donors give to GW Athletics in 24 hours. And of course, it's our bicentennial year, and it's a great time to be at GW. I want to personally thank President LeBlanc and EVP CFO Mark Diaz, who continue to be incredibly supportive of our work. And they spent a lot of time with Caroline McCombs during the interview process. Your support of our process was instrumental in getting us to here today. Thank you. I also want to thank Associate Athletics Director John Square. It was incredible to have a partner in this effort. And I couldn't have asked for a better co-pilot over the last few weeks. I'm so grateful for your determination and commitment, early mornings, late nights, weekends, as we work to get this right. Thank you, Mr. Square. And to each and every one of you that are here today, live or virtually, and for those who helped to bring this event to life, our staff has gone above and beyond this year, stretching way outside their comfort zone, and I truly appreciate every one of you. It's appropriate to praise you publicly today. Thank you. So when John and I sat down to discuss how we would embark on this search, we developed a series of principles to guide our way. As with all of our searches, we knew we needed somebody that embodies our values of determination, commitment, and respect. We also knew that the individual needed to showcase the behaviors that we identify with ideal team players. They needed to be humble, hungry, and smart. It was also critical that we found somebody who understands that here at GW, in our athletics department, our competitive advantage is how we treat one another. And as you saw just a few minutes ago, we recognized that GW women's basketball is historically the most positive display of discipline and excellence for our university. 16 Atlantic 10 regular season championships, 7 A-10 tournament titles, 18 NCAA tournament appearances, including 3 Sweet 16s, and of course, an Elite 8. We needed to find a proven winner who had worked throughout their career to better themselves. Caroline McCombs is that proven winner. But more importantly, she's a lifelong learner who is in the pursuit, the very gritty pursuit of mastery in her craft. You've likely read more about Coach McCombs over the past few days, but I want to highlight a few aspects of her career. Yes, she's the winningest coach in Stony Brook's Division I history, as her teams went 130-76 in her 7 seasons. In the COVID-shortened season, her program won 28 games, finishing 28-3, which was a historical best at Stony Brook. In addition to her time at Stony Brook, she spent time on the bench with multiple coaching greats, including Coach Flo at Auburn, our very own A-10 Commissioner Bernadette McGlade's sister, Agnes Bernardo, at Pitt, and our beloved Hall of Fame coach, Joe McEwen, at Northwestern. Caroline's time at Valpo, Northwestern, Pitt, Auburn, and Stony Brook have appropriately prepared her for this next chapter. What we love about Caroline is that she will not rest on those past experiences with the expectation of any future results. As she shared more about her own journey, during the interview process, we found that Caroline is incredibly self-aware and reflective. She is intentional in her own development. She is hungry, she is humble, and she is smart. Here at GW, she will be firmly grounded in the process, focused on present-day gritty efforts that will produce the results that we desire. To our team, Coach McCombs and her staff will help you daily as you work through the struggles and overcome failures. They will be committed in your own transformation as you develop the necessary grit and resiliency to become the best versions of yourself. This is not about what, but rather who you become. Get ready to embrace the mundanity of excellence as you learn how to pound the stone, control the controllables, and further develop the courage to go first and then call your teammates up. I'm so excited to watch you work, making the very most of the present to create better futures for yourselves, your teammates, and your program. So take a breath as you learn to surrender the outcome and trust the process. Coach McCombs will help you get there. Caroline, welcome to our family. And at this time, I would like to welcome our 17th president, President Tom LeBlanc, to the stage.
Thank you. Thank you, Tanya, and thanks to everyone for coming out to join us today. You know that we hold women's basketball dear to our hearts, since this is the first in-person event I've been a part of, I think, in 13 months. So nothing else would have brought us out but to welcome Coach McCombs to our GW community. I want to thank everyone for being here and for helping organize this event. I have just one gentle criticism. My wife is in the front row, and I'm way back up there. We usually sit together in the front row for the women's game, so maybe next time you could reposition my face. When we talk about our university aspiration for preeminence, in everything we do, we have to have leaders who can direct us towards that preeminence. Coach McCombs will do just that for GW women's basketball. Her experience at other elite academic institutions and her commitment to recruiting and developing student athletes who excel on the court and in the classroom will ensure our program thrives at the highest levels. I am confident that under the leadership of Coach McCombs, GW women's basketball will again be a major player on the national stage. One of my mentors once asked her trustees, "What do you expect from your athletic program?" And they said, "We want to be competitive." And she said that I'm not the person for you because I want to win. Coach McCombs, I want to win. These ladies here, they want to win. The fans here at GW, we want to win. We want to do it with class. We want to do it with style, discipline. You've clearly demonstrated you embody these values, and you'll foster a culture of discipline, excellence, and service. You've distinguished yourself at the top of a very competitive search, and I know that you will add to our athletics tradition. So it is now my distinct pleasure to introduce the 11th head coach of GW women's basketball, Caroline McCombs.
First, I'm honored and humbled to represent the George Washington University as your women's basketball head coach. I would first like to thank President Tom LeBlanc and Mark Diaz for your belief in me to uphold the standards of discipline and excellence at GW. From our conversation, I could tell that we were aligned and our values were in place, and I could call this home. I would also like to thank Tanya Vogel and John Square. In our initial conversation, we only spoke of culture and values. And as we aligned, those pieces just continued to fall in place. Your growth mindset, your intentionality with words, and emphasis on the values of determination, commitment, and respect were a few areas that impressed me, and I wanted to be a part of this values-based organization. From an internal standpoint, I would also like to thank everybody at GW that made this event possible today. There were a lot of behind-the-scenes work with COVID protocols to have a safe event on campus today, and I'm so appreciative to be able to welcome my family here because of that. I wouldn't be standing in front of you today without so many instrumental people in my life. I would first like to thank Sean Hilbrun and my Stony Brook family. Sean took a chance on me 7 years ago as a first-time head coach, and I am forever grateful. To my Stony Brook players, past and present, I love you, I will miss you, and I am forever grateful for our time together. I have enjoyed watching you grow into the young women that you are becoming, and to witness the impact you have had on so many. To my assistant coaches and support staff members along this journey, thank you for always teaching me and challenging me. You helped to make me a better person and a better coach, and I truly learn from each and every one of you every day. During my time as an assistant coach, I had the opportunity to have some amazing head coach mentors: Keith Freeman, Agnes Baronato, Terry Williams-Flanoy, and our very own GW Hall of Famer, Joe McEwen. All of these head coaches took me under their wing in different ways and taught me invaluable lessons. Being a part of a team and coaching staff is really about family. And for that, I am forever thankful for their love for me as a person growing in this business. I could share stories of each one of them, but probably the one you want to hear most is about Coach McEwen. Coach, Laura, Megan, Joey, and Allie are amazing human beings. During my time with Coach, I learned that Blizzard is not an ice cream, nor a zone defense, but it has been one of the many special secrets to his success. I learned how to eat really well and also drink a lot of expensive red wine. I learned that all former players are family. I had the opportunity to meet George Washington Hall of Famer Debbie Henry on my first recruiting trip in Toulouse, France. She took me in and treated me like I was one of her college teammates. I learned how important it is to surround myself with great people. I learned that when someone walks in the gym, the value to sit next to them, because it's always about how you make people feel. There wasn't a day that went by that Coach didn't ask me how I was doing or how my family wasn't doing. And quickly, that could be followed up with, "Hey Coach, did we sign anybody today?" I thank Coach McEwen for challenging me on a daily basis to be my best, and I hope I can make you proud of coaching our GW teams. Lastly, if you haven't seen Coach McEwen's Philly Shuffle from the most recent NCAA tournament, I hope you will check it out. To my personal family, my mom, my dad looking down upon us from heaven, my sisters, my brother, my nieces and nephews, my grandparents, my aunts, my uncles, my cousins. Oh, and by the way, happy birthday to my 2-year-old niece today. Basketball has been a love of mine from an early age. I thank you for your love and support of my dreams to be a college basketball coach. The sport that I fell in love with is so much more than a game, but an opportunity to mentor, grow, and impact young women's lives. Those doors have just continued to open in my life, and you have supported me every step of the way. My experience as a student athlete is one of the reasons I decided to become a college basketball coach, and I will always strive to help my players have that same experience. That experience is building relationships, long-term life relationships. It's no secret that GW has a storied tradition of basketball, as you can see from the banners hanging in the Smith Center. There are so many women that helped to hang these banners, and we want to make our alumni proud and get back to that level of competition and winning that you deserve and want to see. This is an incredible opportunity to bring back excitement to our university and our community, and to connect and build relationships with you, our alumni, and our community, and for everyone to share in these experiences with our current student athletes. I am looking forward to connecting with you soon. As we move forward to this next era of GW basketball, we will be a program of transformation, growth, and development. We want to create an atmosphere, an environment where our players have a better chance of being successful in life because they were involved in our program. Through personal development, academic success, basketball training, and investment in future success. Our program will represent young women of love, of service, and of providing value. How we treat people, how we give without expecting anything in return, and how we share with others our perspective and what we are learning are important concepts. We will also want our players to know that they are valued for who they are and not for what they do. Lastly, we will be a team with a humble and hungry mindset. Each and every day, we will strive to maintain our standard of excellence. Here at GW, we will be committed to the process. We will not just focus on the outcome, but we will teach our players to have joy in their journey and to fall in love with the process. Nothing great was ever achieved overnight, so having an understanding that we are going to have to go through things together and how we choose to view those experiences and learn from them with one another will deeply impact us. A term that you will begin to hear around our program is pound the stone, and that will be a mentality that we have. It's about developing grit through your successes and through your failures, and from learning and getting better, because we will all go through this together. On the basketball court, our identity will be our defense. There's a quote that we will use with our team. Our defense tells us if we win, and our offense tells us by how much. We will be a team that defends, a team that rebounds, and a team that runs. We will work tirelessly to emphasize, develop, and to recruit student athletes that fit into our system. As I look at our current student athletes today, I want you to know that we will be a program of player development. We will continue to invest in you and your overall skill set at each individual workout, at pre-practice, at post-practice, and throughout each practice. We will be consistent with our fundamentals such as footwork and in doing all of the little things, because we know that little things add up to big things. GW is a global institution in the heart of our nation's capital. We are blocks away from the White House. We have the best city campus in the country. As I walked around campus today and saw the beautiful cherry blossoms, I've realized that we have everything right here at our fingertips to attract student athletes from across the country, as well as internationally. We also know that the DMV is a hotbed for recruiting, and we plan to connect and build relationships with all of the local coaches and players. And we will do our best to keep those top players right here at home. In closing, I am thrilled to stand here in front of you today and represent the George Washington University as your head women's basketball coach. Thank you.
All righty. Now we got a special message from the President of Georgia's Army, which is our student fan group. George Glass.
Good afternoon, Coach McCombs. My name is George Glass, and I'm the president of Georgia's Army, the official student section of GW Athletics. On behalf of the GW student body, I just want to welcome you and your family here to Foggy Bottom and GW. We're extremely excited and lucky to have you, and I can't wait to meet you in person. We have some gifts for you, and I just want to let you know you're invited to join us in the front row of the student section anytime you'd like. Again, congratulations and raise high.
As we all know, we can't wait to fully celebrate in person. In the meantime, we have another virtual message from one of our GW's greats, Sarah Jo Lawrence.
Hello, basketball fans. My name is Sarah Jo Lawrence. I'm an alumni of the GW Women's Basketball Program, class of 2008, and I wanted to make sure you heard that we've hired a new GW head women's basketball coach. Her name is Carolyn McCombs. She comes directly from Stony Brook, but has also had stops at other schools and other conferences like the ACC, the SEC, and also the Big Ten at Northwestern, where Joe McEwen, my former head coach, is the head coach at currently. So she's recruited high-level talent at different places. She's won conference tournament championships. She's won NCAA tournament games. She's been there at different places time and time again. So I'm excited at the possibility of her turning the direction of the program around and back to where we were national powerhouses and where we were the top of the A10. So I'm excited at what Carolyn is going to do with the program. So I'm excited to meet Carolyn. I've heard a lot of great things about her, but before I get to meet her, I'm going to learn some things now because I'm going to take it over to Dave Earle, who's going to ask Carolyn McCombs, our new head GW women's basketball coach, some questions. So Dave, longtime fan and supporter of GW basketball, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you so much, Sarah Jo. And Coach McCombs, welcome to GW. We're so glad to have you here. I'm going to ask you to turn around again one more time because our first question is actually going to be coming from our GW Athletics Advisory Council Chairwoman, Michelle Rubin, class of 91, with a question to you from California.
Coach McCombs, I'd like to welcome to GW. I'd also like to ask, what made GW and this job attractive to you? Thank you. Look forward to meeting you, and raise high.
Okay, well, thank you, Michelle, and thank you for your longtime support and commitment and Giving Day, just being a champion for us yesterday. We really appreciate you. Why GW? First and foremost, it was the leadership that really drew me to this amazing university. Just with talking to everybody that I met, I knew I wanted to learn and be a part of something special here. There are premier academics at George Washington. This is an ideal location to live, to work, to go to school. There is so much history, right? A storied history here where we can bring that back to competing for championships nationally, competing for Atlantic 10 championships. And then there's the resources and the investment in the program for us to be successful. So to me, once I met the people, I knew what the university was, but until I met the people and knew what everybody stood for, that really made me want to be a part of something special here.
Thank you so much, Coach. Our next question comes from alumna Lauren Chase Cooper from the GW Women's Basketball Program. She's class of 2016, and her question is, as an alum and proud DMV product, I have not seen many DMV recruits in the last couple of years, despite there being so much talent in the area, as you had talked about previously. How do you anticipate building relationships with the DMV basketball community to recruit local talent to GW?
That's a great question, and I think recruiting is about relationships, and so myself and our staff, we're going to work to build those relationships, build trust, bring people on campus, have them come to games, have them come to practice, have them come to camp, all of those things where they're seeing what we do on a daily basis. But I think that's a responsibility that we have to keep those local players home. There is so much talent in the DMV area, and why not not GW, so we really need to bring that back and keep them home.
And Coach, building off of the recruiting, we had similar questions from a number of our fans, including former GW student athlete and GW Law alumnus Bob Pugach, about instituting your culture. And Bob is the cutout sitting right behind Mrs. LeBlanc in the third row. He talked about instituting your culture, and namely, if you could talk a little bit more about what Pound the Stone means for you and how you brought that from Stony Brook, and how you want to bring that to the current group of student athletes on the women's basketball program.
Sure. I mean, Pound the Stone is just a daily lifestyle. It is really who you will become. And with everything you do, it's not just something that you apply to the game of basketball, but something you apply, in your lives. And so, you're going to go through successes, you're going to go through failures, and how you respond to those things. We want to teach you to have courage. We want to teach you to be vulnerable. We want you to be authentic in who you are. We want to have those types of conversations. To have a different perspective and to learn one another. And I think as we can open up and really know who we are, we'll run through a wall on this floor for each other. And so that's the type of relationship and interactions that I want to be able to have with our team. So Pound the Stone is really a lifestyle, and I'm so excited to begin this journey with this new team.
Next up is a question from Craig Wolf, and the first thing he says is, "Hi, Coach. Excited to have you here." And then he asks the question, "As it has been publicized, you've made the NCAA tournament at 5 different stops along your coaching and playing career. Can you talk a little bit about some of the common themes and attributes about those teams that have reached NCAA tournaments?"
Sure. Thanks, Craig, for your question, and it is great to be here. So I think things that have separated the NCAA tournament teams, that I've been a part of, is that the players led the team. And so as coaches are going to be teaching you things, it's really when you embody those characteristics in the conversations that you have back in the dorms, in the locker room. We don't just want to be holding you accountable to doing things, but we want to be calling everybody up to a higher level, a higher standard that we're living every day. And so the best teams that I've coached have been player-led teams. And again, we're starting, today, and so that's my responsibility to teach you what that looks like. But I would love the ownership to be coming, from our players as we build this culture.
And finally, I'm going to take advantage of the opportunity to ask the final question, and part of that is driven by looking up at the rafters and seeing 18 NCAA tournaments, all of the Atlantic 10 regular season and postseason championships, 4 Sweet 16s, including 1 trip to the Elite Eight. You're now the steward of a really incredible tradition of women's basketball at George Washington. Can you talk a little more about what it means to you to be the caretaker and the steward of that tradition, and where you want to continue that on?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's an honor to serve as the women's basketball head coach here. Joe McEwen, a mentor, a friend of mine, led this program for 19 seasons. And to just understand him, to have learned from him, to have heard every probably GW story imaginable. I have so much pride in this university and women's basketball program and what we can do. So to me, I have a huge sense of responsibility to everybody in guiding and leading our young women to success.
Coach, thank you so much. Again, welcome to GW. And ladies and gentlemen, I ask you to please join me in a round of applause welcoming Coach Carolyn McCombs.